Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront updates and a bit of a channel update. I always like to keep you guys up to date and be honest, so I thought since I've received a lot of questions regarding the topics in this video, why not just make a big video about it? So what I want to talk about is first of all my G2A sponsorship and why I'm stopping it, then about doing YouTube full time, and lastly a little bit about Patreon. So if you're interested, feel free to watch the whole video, but if you're just interested in a part of it, I will put some timestamps in the description below. So first off, G2A. Most of you have probably noticed that I've been sponsored by them for about 6 months now, and lately a bit of bad information has come up with them, and it's not the first case, so I don't really want to go into detail about everything in this video, but I would suggest you to go and watch Level Cap's video. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it, and if you have, you know what I'm talking about. Just in short, even though it's a great company and I really like them and what they do, the problem is that when you sell game keys on a marketplace, it's extremely hard to regulate what actually gets on there. So even though some of the things there are bought from Steam sales, review copies and stuff like that, there has been a lot of cases about people using stolen credit cards to buy keys from websites, and then when they get those keys, they can sell them on G2A or other key resellers, of course. And then the credit card company do these cashbacks or paybacks or whatever it's called, where they take back all the money because they knew it was a stolen credit card. And at that point, the developer or whoever sold the original key is stuck without a key and without the money. And this has become a system where some people abuse and basically make a lot of money each month by simply using stolen credit cards to buy keys and then sell them on key reselling sites. I mean, in the end, I want to support the developers because they make this industry possible, and without them, we wouldn't have any games and I wouldn't have anything to make videos about. So even though cheap games are nice, you should always support the developer any way you can and buy them from Steam sales or other places where it's legitimate and where you know that the money actually goes to the developer, or at least a part of it. So that's a problem for me with G2A until they can guarantee that all keys are safely acquired and that the developer is getting their part. It's a business I don't really want to support. But who knows, if they improve in the future, I might decide to revisit them. But we will see about that. And if you're interested in more details, simply check out Level Cap's video. I will link it in the description below. Now over to the next part, going YouTube full time. This is a question I get all the time. Do you do YouTube full time? What do you do otherwise? And so on. Basically, up until now, I've been studying in university for game development, and during my time when I did university, I did spend a lot of time making YouTube videos. I mean, I've been making YouTube videos for probably 7 years in total, but it wasn't until I started this channel that it got a bit more serious. But it wasn't until, I don't know, 6 months ago probably, or when the release of Battlefront, where I actually started making a bit of money from it, and I thought, this is a nice extra job. I can do it while I study university, and it helps support me, which is really fantastic. And at that point, I kind of decided that when I'm done with university, which I'm kind of am now, even though I have a couple of leftover courses, but yeah, I decided that either I'd get a full-time job as a programmer, which was the plan, and then I had to cut down on YouTube a lot, like we're talking just a few videos a week maximum, or I tried to do YouTube full-time and get my dream job, you know, because it would have been so amazing. And now I'm at that point where I've decided to try and do YouTube full time. So of course it's a big risk, but I don't really see any better opportunity than now. I mean, Star Wars games are at its all-time high. We're gonna get multiple more Star Wars games in the coming 10 years at least, and movies and so on. And now that I don't already have a full-time job, it's better to try it now than instead of getting a full-time job and then leaving that, because that doesn't really make sense. I know a lot of other people in the same situation who have full-time jobs who really want to pursue YouTube full time, but it can't really because they have such a good job and so on. But I really want to give it a try now. And what does this mean for you? Well, basically not very much, because the last couple of months during university, I've pretty much almost been doing YouTube full time because well, I've done more YouTube than I've done university stuff. I gotta be honest. That's why I have a couple of leftover courses. So what it will mean is, of course, more consistent content. I won't be busy with university, you know, intense periods, and more live streaming and so on. But otherwise, the content is going to continue as it is now. But in order to do it full time, there's a couple of things you need to know. I mean, I need to get a consistent views every month, and that's really hard for me because I dedicate my channel solely to Battlefront and other Star Wars games. So when there's big news like DLC drops, my views go up, but then it goes down. And that's sort of the way it's always going to be, because I don't want to put out content that you guys don't want to watch. I don't just want to fill my channel with random stuff in order to get my views. And I want to keep it that way because that's kind of the beauty of it. I really like having a very specific channel, even though some people say, oh, you should expand and so on. But that's not why this channel became so successful, because I had multiple of those types of channels before, which didn't do close to as good as this one did. And something I want to talk about then is just about sponsorships again. Like I mentioned with G2A, a lot of big YouTubers or gaming YouTubers in general, both small and big, get a lot of sponsorships to help support them. Basically, one sponsored gaming video, if we're talking like a full video sponsored by one game, can pretty much pay as much as a whole month worth of ad revenue, because ad revenue does not pay well. And due to ad block, it makes it very hard to make a living just from ads unless you have a lot of views. I mean, I think around 30 or 40% of the views are in general are monetized, which shows what an impact ad block and other things have. But for me, the problem is, again, my channel is very specific, so I can't really take up a lot of sponsorships. I get offered to promote other games and apps and stuff like that, but I don't really want to do that. I don't want to put you out to content that you're not interested in. For other channels, it's a lot easier because they cover 15 different games, so it's no problem if they have a sponsored video. I don't have anything against sponsored content as long as you're honest and really just promote stuff that you like yourself. But again, that makes it a bit hard for me. I mean, I have Elgato as a sponsor now, which are fantastic company. I don't think there's any better fit for me. I mean, top 5 plays, recording gameplay and uploading. Elgato, recording gameplay and uploading. It's like the perfect match. But it's hard to find other companies willing to do that, and other companies that I want to promote on my channel. So I want to try to just keep my channel clean and do not as much sponsorships. And I just wanted to talk about that briefly, just so you know what I think about sponsorships, my plans, and so on. And lastly, in this video, I wanted to talk about something called Patreon. And I think the most of you probably already know what it is, because there's a lot of other content creators using it. It's basically, I guess you could say, like a tip jar, or it depends on how you use it though. I guess the best comparison I could give you is that it works like subscribing to someone on Twitch. On Twitch you pay, I think it's $5 a month, and you get a bunch of features on Twitch, as well as supporting the creator directly. Patreon, on the other hand, you choose how much you want to give each month. And the thing is here that I was kind of hesitant about making this video and about just getting Patreon in general, because there's going to be a lot of mixed feelings. I know there's going to be some negative people in the comments, and there's going to be a lot of people who support it as well, because I know a ton of other creators have used it successfully. I can show you a couple on the screen right now. And the thing I want to get across is that I want to see this as a tip jar, where if you want to like my content, want to support me, help me do this full time and get a bit more stability in my income, feel free to support me there. On the other hand, I don't want it to be like some creators use it, where it's almost like you can buy a service where if you do this, you get that, if you do this, you get that, and so on. There's a long list of rewards you can get, because I don't want to make anything of my stuff exclusive to only people who want to or can afford to support me on Patreon. So the way I've done it is that the only reward I will have, except for the Patreon feed, which is available for everyone on Patreon, I guess I can just explain that quickly. That's basically like a feed where I can post and you can post, and it's only Patreon so you can see it, which means I will be able to respond to everything there. But secondly, the thing I do want to do is I will do one live stream a month, 1 hour or 2 hours, we'll see, which is basically a Q&A for only Patreon supporters. And I felt this was a good middle ground, because it gives the Patreon supporters something unique that only they can experience. But on the other hand, it doesn't take away from my other content, because I will still do all of my other live streams where I do Q&As at the end of every single live stream. The only difference is that here there's going to be a lot less people watching, which means you will have your question answered guaranteed. So I hope that's a good middle ground, but this is just a start. I'm really testing the waters out here and to see how you guys react to it, and if anyone's even interested in Patreon. Multiple of you have shown a lot of generosity during my live streams, donating to me, and a lot of you even suggested me to get a Patreon, so I thought, why not? There's not really anything to lose on it. Those of you who watch my content won't lose out on anything, and I don't see any negative part myself. I mean, there's probably going to be a couple of comments about it, but hopefully you understand why I'm doing it, because I have such an unstable channel, and it's a way for you to support me directly if you want to. So it's basically like a tip jar, I guess. So yeah, that's the way that works, and you can just check out the link in the description to my Patreon page, and I'll put up a bit of this description there explaining what my goal with it is, which is really not any specific goal, and the rewards you can get and so on. And there's a lot of things I want to get through with this video, both regarding Patreon, sponsorships, going full time. So if you have any questions whatsoever or anything you want to discuss, feel free to leave a comment below, because I will respond to as many as possible. I knew that I would never get this video perfect, because there's just so many aspects I want to talk about, and I'm sure I'm gonna come up with a bunch of stuff afterwards that I'm gonna be like, I wish I said that in the video. But I hope I got my point across about everything about G2A, going YouTube full time, sponsorships, and Patreon. Otherwise, as I said, leave a comment below and I will do my best to respond to all of them. But yeah, I think that wraps up this video. Thank you very much for watching and for the support lately. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers, which is just amazing. I will definitely have something special for that milestone. I haven't really figured it out yet, so if you have any suggestions for that, feel free to leave a comment about it below as well. But yeah, for now, thank you very much for watching this whole video, and as always, may the force be with you.